People like pictures of feet? You should be ashamed of yourself. Here's a card trick. If I take a card like a two of diamonds, I'm sure you've seen a trick where I put it in the bottom of the deck, it comes to the top. What I'm sure you haven't seen before is if we take the two of diamonds and place it on the bottom of the deck, and now the bottom of the deck becomes the top of the deck. I'm confused. You're confused. Why did my father never come back? Ooh, you gotta have that Instagram post, baby. You see how engaging it is? I catch you with my feet, and then I show you a card trick. And then when you think the card trick is over, whoop-ham, I show my deck of playing cards. Which is, by the way, the Missing Piece deck, which is live on Kickstarter. You should pick it up. The link is in the description section below. 54% funded. Make sure to get it all the way past to 100% funded. Share it with your friends. And it's a fun trick to do because you really reel them in. Oh, look, here's a trick that everybody's seen where the card goes from the bottom all the way to the top. But then watch. The bottom now becomes the top, and you could then show the deck, and it's a little bit of an interesting twist on an otherwise simple trick. Now, this does require some moves that I suggest you join the PigCake Magic Academy for. The link is also in the description section below. But the real trick here is to try your best to ignore my feet. So the setup for this is as follows. We're going to have 3 cards that are face down on the bottom of the deck, and the rest of the deck is of course facing upward, and now we're good to go. Now this originally was done as a reverse tilt. What I mean by that was what I would do is I would show a card like the 5 of diamonds. I would turn it face down, of course that being a double lift. So I'm actually lifting 2 cards as one, showing the 5 of diamonds, turning that card face down. Again, it's 2 cards, so the top card really is the 5 of spades here. I would take this card, which they think is the 5 of diamonds, and because I don't want to lose it in the deck, because remember, the deck is face up, what I would do with this card is I would actually put it in a tilt position, which means that I'm lifting up this card up here and pretending to put it in the middle when really I put it second from the top of the deck. What that allows me to do is that now I could show this card to be face up on top of the deck without any doubles, and I don't have a card that I have to lose somewhere in the trick in the middle of the deck that's facing the other way. That's how this trick was originally done. However, that involved a setup of having this card face up on top of the deck for reasons you're going to see in a bit. And I figured just doing a double lift from the beginning was a lot easier. So that's just there for the sake of completion. But first thing you're going to do is a double lift, and you're going to show this 5 of spades on top of the deck. You're going to turn this double face down. You're then going to take the real top card, which in this case is the 5 of diamonds, and place it on the bottom of the deck as you claim to the participant if they've ever seen a trick where the card goes on the bottom, you snap your fingers, and then it jumps on top. Now here in the original method that I used that reverse tilt, this card would be singly on top. I'd be able to put this card on top, and then I'd be able to get into the next part of the routine. However, in this new variation, it requires for you to have 4 cards on top of the deck face down. So what I mean by that is in this case, you start off with 4 cards on top of the deck. You're then going to do a double lift, show them the 5 of spades, put this card on the bottom of the deck, show the fact that it's made its way to the top, and now you're going to have 2 cover cards. The reason for that is because you're going to show this 5 of spades, you're going to get a pinky break right there below the top card of the deck, you're going to place the 5 of spades on top, and you're going to lift this card up as you mentioned to the participants if they've ever seen the trick where you take the card from the top of the deck, place it on the bottom. So all I'm doing here is I'm suiting my actions to words by lifting up these 2 cards as one. I'm going to put this on the bottom of the deck and turn the whole thing over. Now it's very important that you keep the cards relatively square because you don't want any of the actual real condition of the cards to flash to the participants. Now at this point the participants are going to see a face up card on the bottom, and because of the condition that you've shown the cards, they assume that this is the face of the deck. Because you're holding on to an extra card down here, once you place this card on top, now this card is going to act as your cover card. So you mentioned to the participants if you've ever seen the trick where you take the card, you put it on the bottom of the deck, and now the bottom of the deck becomes the top of the deck. Now all I'm doing there is I'm just simply placing this card on top. What they see here is actually pretty interesting because the assumption is, oh, maybe he has 2 of the 5 of spades, and when you show this bottom card to be indifferent, it's another little bit of a surprise to most participants. You're then going to place this card here on top, and now I'm going to use my thumb to push off a block of cards as I show that really this is now turned into the top of the deck. So it's a very surreal moment because the entire implication here is that throughout this process, this is the top of the deck because of course it's implied. When that card is then placed in the bottom of the deck and then shown to be on top of the deck, the implication is that again, this is the top of the deck. This is where the face down cards lie. However, you subvert that expectation when you actually place this on what they think is the bottom of the deck. Really, it's the top of the deck, and it becomes this weird surreal moment where now you've turned the bottom of the deck to the top of the deck. It reminds me of this old trick by Dan and Dave Buck called Hedbert's Peak, and I came up with so many different variations of that because I love the plot. The plot is that you take advantage of their assumption that the deck is in a certain condition, and of course it ends up being similar to this trick where the bottom now becomes the top. But this really is just a simplified version of that particular concept with a double lift, and you're pretty much good to go. So it's definitely a weird trick. It's a quick one at that, but I think it's one that's enjoyable to most participants, assuming that they weren't given thalidomide as a child. I of course implore you to check out the missing piece stack of playing cards on Kickstarter. The link is going to be in the description section below. It's really a baby that I've launched into the community, and I really hope that it comes to fruition. Right now it's at 54% funding as of this video, and again, through your generous contributions, hopefully we'll be able to make it all the way up to 100%. Some advice at the end of the video. Boy, I just saw Indiana Jones, the new one, Dial of Destiny. It's not bad. I guess this is less advice and more review. I watched a lot of reviews before I watched the movie, and the reviews were pretty negative, but the movie wasn't actually terrible. I'm not a huge fan of like Disney, Marvel. I have whole videos making fun of Disney adults and Marvel adults, but this one is a little bit different because of course it's established IP in Indiana Jones, and it actually wasn't that bad. The character development was all right in the movie. I thought the girl was going to be relatively annoying, and she was in the beginning, but then towards the end she turns and won my affection both physically and mentally. And the only one that I really didn't like was the kid. I really wish the kid got shot. So that's my review at the end of the video. I hope you appreciated it. It's probably going to be the last movie review I give in a video, but it's what I do for you guys.
I see you again, when 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 I see you again.